Welcome to the Founders Corner, brought to you by OneBridge Accounting. Here's your host, Eli Clark. Hey everyone, Eli Clark here, co-founder and CEO of OneBridge Accounting and host of the Founders Corner podcast. Today's guest is Luke Eggebraaten, the founder of Phaser Marketing. Luke, very excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Eli, thank you so much, man. I've been looking forward to this day. We had our pre-recording call and I've just been fired up since.
Dude, I'm stoked for this too. I think it's going to be an awesome conversation. It's a great episode. So to jump right in, introduce yourself. Tell people who you are, what you guys do, and kind of what makes you guys unique and what helps you stand out.
Yeah, so thank you again for having me on the show. Really excited to just chat with you a bit. And I guess my name's Luke Eggebraaten, and I own a company called Phaser Marketing. It's a marketing agency that serves the excavation niche, or as we would like to say, the dirt world. Started it in 2019 and started it on the side. I didn't quit my full-time job until about 2021, later in the year, until I knew that it could sustain myself going full-time in the business. So I learned a lot through the first couple of years, and then since then we've scaled up, and we now have a team of 17 wonderful team members, and I love what I get to do every single day.
That's super awesome. And we're going to talk about team development a little bit today, just because you do have 17 team members, which is amazing to go from 2019 to today to see that growth. I think it's going to be really cool to kind of unpack maybe some lessons learned that over the last couple of years, right? But before we jump into that, kind of break down for us a little bit more, kind of maybe some of your experiences before Phaser and kind of what brought you to the marketing world.
Yeah, good question. So I'm originally from Minnesota. My wife and I live in Arizona now, and went to college at Mankato and got a 4-year degree for sport management, which is not what I'm doing right now, but still a huge fan of sports, and graduated in 2018, right? And in 2018, I had a good head on my shoulders. I was a hard worker. I was super excited for what post-college work had in store for me, and man, I could not get a job. Like it was really difficult, and I didn't even have the excuse of a poor job market. Like I think it was a hot job market, and I just, for some reason, one or the other, it brought me down a path of about 75 job applications and trying to find my way, but knowing that whoever picks me up, like they're going to get somebody who's hungry, ready to work, and ready to grow. And thankfully, so my wife was at Lincoln, Nebraska. She graduated same year, and then she went to study for her master's in Omaha, Nebraska. So as I started to apply for jobs down in Nebraska, once I was not having much success, got a job at an orthodontic practice in Omaha, a small practice called Braces Omaha. And I came in as it was like a marketing coordinator / treatment coordinator. So half of my job was to develop treatment plans and welcome in the new patients and bring them through their exam, which I had no experience with. And then my other half, which I was a bit more interested in, was to oversee our marketing. And part of that responsibility, this office had hired a marketing agency that was in California. So I got to oversee Nuvolume, who was a marketing agency niche down in the orthodontic space. And huge shout out to Braces Omaha and Nuvolume, but the entire experience was unbelievable. And I started to get to see how marketing agencies work, but by being on the other side of it. And so as I'm working full-time in this job that I absolutely loved, working with this marketing agency, kind of being the liaison or the point of contact, really showed me like, wow, these people are really cool. They are making me look really good because they're doing most of the work and crushing it for us as a business. And the third is like, we're paying them a lot of money, but you're almost happy to because of the value that they're providing us. And
right.
I was like, man, in 2019, early in the year, I was like, I should start one of these. These are awesome. And that being a marketing agency. And so I kind of just spurred this idea of, okay, I would love to start my own brand, my own company, and one day potentially build it up to be able to go full time. And I was very cognizant of the fact that this doesn't just happen overnight. Delayed gratification. I was excited for it. I was ready.
Totally.
And in October 24th, 2019, I got the LLC papers back for Phaser Marketing, and that was day one of building this agency up on the side while working full time at this practice.
And the rest is history, right? How long were you part-time before you took Phaser full-time?
Yeah, so I I was from October 19th, 2019 till August 4th, 2021. I didn't take a penny out of the business and I was working full time. So I think that those are super important because I would not have been able to go full time if I was taking the profits to buy groceries or taking the profits to do this or that. So I kept everything in there and told myself, don't take a dime until you're able to go full time, which
Mhm.
I just realized that rhymes. So uh,
Perfect.
yeah, man, and it was that kind of that carrot of like, let's keep building this thing up and see if we can make it happen. And sure enough, my wife got a job once she graduated with her master's in Arizona, and we were looking at moving from Nebraska. And then I was looking at, okay, I'm gonna leave my job here and probably maybe find another job in Arizona. However, the business at that time was doing about 7 to 8 thousand monthly recurring revenue
Mm.
and about maybe a few $1,000s in project work a month. And I think we had maybe $8,000 in the business bank. So enough padding there where I could take a little bit of the leap. My wife was getting a pay raise and I would, leave my job, so take a pay cut. And we made that jump, moved to Arizona, and in the middle of August, I paid myself my first paycheck of $500, and it was
There you
awesome.
go. It's awesome. It's your first $500, right? Self-earned,
Yeah.
legitimate, right? As a business. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. I still have the check actually. I write on there, first paycheck LFG, like in the memo, just so
Yeah.
excited. But it's yeah, for everyone listening too. I mean, we've all been there. Like to to pay yourself that first dollar of something that you created and everyone helped you create out of thin air is pretty incredible.
That's super cool. In that kind of early stage, what were some of the unexpected things that happened or unexpected things that you learned, especially kind of in that early stage of the agency?
How man, how important and how difficult retention can be. You can be on top of the world when you launch your agency and you get a couple clients and things are going well. I think where agencies live and die really is in their ability to retain clients. And
Mhm.
that's not just taking care of them on the results side of things, but it's also taking care of them as human beings and building those relationships. And stemming off of that too, I learned right away how difficult it can be to work in multiple industries. So, as we'll, I'm sure, talk about a little bit, we niched down heavy early on. After we worked with a few other industries and got our butts kicked, we're like, all right, we see the value in working with one industry and becoming the experts and that's the direction we've gone, and we wouldn't turn back.
No, so that you bring up a really good point. So we're going to dive into kind of team development, talk about that a little bit. But before we do that, I think it'd be interesting for you to kind of share a little bit about your niche and kind of maybe your thoughts or strategy on niching down, especially for marketing agencies.
Yeah, I mean, so it came pretty naturally to us. So our first company we worked with was a real estate agency, and they're good friends of mine. It just didn't work out well. Like 6 months in, we got canned, which was tough. But the second client we had was a good friend of mine named Luke Payne. I went to high school with him, and he started a demolition and excavation company in 2018. And in 2020, he reached out to us like, "Hey, I need a website and some SEO." And I started to become exposed to this new industry that I didn't know much about, which was excavation. And from the work we did with him, and we're always very vocal about that on social media, uh, another company reached out that we didn't know, and they're in the oil fields and heavy equipment,
Mm.
heavy construction, that kind of stuff. And we started working with them, and we're like, man, this is a really cool industry. And three big things that I guess I would recommend when picking a niche is, and this is exactly how we did it. Number one is the passion. I started to develop over the first couple of years a passion for the men and women that are building America and seemingly underappreciated. And so seeing that, I was like, okay, I could see us as a company riding with this industry with the passion. Number two is the opportunity. And in our case, the opportunity was there weren't many other agencies helping these companies. A lot of these $5 million revenue companies didn't even have a website, and we could elevate their brand presence online pretty easily just by doing the marketing basics. So the opportunity there to help them. And then the third, which is often overlooked, is the ability, they weren't afraid to cut a check. Like the people in this
Yes.
industry, they're used to making payments to equipment, to people, to headquarters, to materials, you name it. And so that was a big factor as well because no offense to, I always use the bakery example, but you have to sell a lot of loaves of bread to pay for a
Yeah.
$1,900 a month marketing budget. So being in an industry that checked those three boxes allowed us to commit to them and say, we're only going to serve this industry. And through doing that over the last 5 years, the industry has given back to us a thousandfold. And we can never repay them for that except by continuing to provide honest, good value work for our clients.
I love that. Yeah, I think there's great power to niching down. I mean, we've seen that within our own firm, within OneBridge, right? Niching down and kind of into the marketing firm, marketing agency space. Been super great for us. We've been able to serve clients way better, right? So
Yeah.
huge proponent of that, huge fan of that, and glad it's worked so well for you guys. That's awesome. So
Yeah, and for you guys too, it's like your audience becomes focused, right? And your
totally, yeah,
new clients, you're not reinventing the wheel every new client. And also your team members and our team members, you're doing them a disservice if every new client they need to learn something brand new.
yeah,
And it's not to say we're not learning new things, but it's like we know like the back of our hand exactly what to do when a $3 million a year excavation company reaches out to us and wants to start. It's like, boom, let's get it going. And there's no questions. And so it, the confidence you can have and the value you can provide and also the education you
mhm,
consume, but that you can provide as well to the industry is unmatched when you're diving deep into a niche like you are and like we are,
totally.
and I'm sure a lot of other agencies listening.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we could just talk about that for a while, right? I mean, there's so much power that comes into that. But let's shift gears a little bit and let's kind of talk about team development. Headcount, you guys are currently at 17 team members, right?
Mhm.
And would you mind sharing with us kind of what like revenue looks like, kind
Yeah.
of now versus when you guys started?
Absolutely, and thank you for asking. I think I'm an open book, so for anyone listening, if I didn't cover something that you're curious about, we'll talk about how you can reach out to me after, and I'm open book with everything. So right now, where we're at, let's see, it is at the end of August here, 2025. We're at about 125,000 monthly recurring revenue.
Recurring. Cool.
We have a team of about 17 full timers. Half of our team is in Colombia, one person is in Serbia, one person is in Pakistan, and then the other seven are in the US W-2 full time. And a big piece of that too is when we grew up in March 2024, we hit the seven-figure mark, which is 83,000 monthly
Mhm,
recurring revenue. At that time, we had one full-time employee,
mhm,
and we were
yeah.
heavy in white label and also working with like contractors, which was great. It honestly, it got us to that point. Our team was a lot more of a hybrid model of, we're not going to pay any W-2 full time. And then we reached a tipping point. A lot of it was financially too and deliverability where it made more sense to start hiring people in-house for us.
Mhm,
And it no longer became like okay, this is a better cost savings if we just contract it out and I go sell. It became more of a, okay, let's start taking more control of what we provide our clients.
totally.
And in the meantime, it's actually going to save us money on the back end. So we made a big shift over the last 16 months or so and went from one full-time employee and about 15% net profit and about and then to 17 full-time employees and about 30% net profit.
Oh, wow, big shift then. Yeah, in net
Huge
profit.
shift. And with that too, there's still more team members being added on, because we also don't want to let that net profit get up to 40% because then our team is likely understaffed, right?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
we the last thing we want is anyone on our team to burn out. So we're definitely hiring a bit forward, but in that transition, we've seen uh, the net profit and gross profit margin increase and then stabilize to where now we can continue adding team members to our team, but also most important, providing the best results for our clients and in a much quicker time frame.
Yeah, totally. That's some crazy growth from a team member perspective, right? To go from 1 W-2 to 17 in about a year and a half. I think you said 17 months, right? Um, let's kinda talk about team structure a little bit if we can. So kinda
Yep.
early agency, you're doing not quite 1,000,000 a year, or you're going up to 1,000,000 a year, just 1 W-2. And you're doing white label or
Yep.
contractors for a lot of stuff. And then now you're kind of bringing all that kind of stuff in house. What would you recommend for an agency that is doing less than 1,000,000 a year, and then the agency that's doing over 1,000,000 a year when it comes to team structure? Like,
Yeah.
should they just stick with contractors? If they have a good contractor and they want to make them a W-2, like, can they make that move before doing 1,000,000 a year? Any thoughts or recommendations on kind of how structuring team members as they grow?
For sure. So I'll say this right away is every agency is different and every founder is different. For me, I didn't come in with the technical knowledge. I've never built a website. I haven't built my own SEO campaigns. I came in more of a business leader. And so for me, I felt more comfortable with my team having all their systems dialed in, knowing exactly what to do, and I just have to pay them. And that in that case, that is white label, right? White label comes in, and I'll shout them out here. Agency Elevation. They have all U.S. team members, and through using them, I don't know what their prices are now, but for an example, it was like $400 per month per client for SEO. And then
Right.
for our clients, they would pay $1,500 per month. So there's some other costs in there too, but think about me as a business owner. If I know my back office is dialed in with um, pretty solid SEO team and they're in our Slack channel and I can ask them questions and we can have our one team member follow up with them and communicate with them. All of a sudden now, whether I'm at 30K MRR or 60K MRR, we can infinitely scale. And
Mm.
I just need to go build the brand and sell and make sure that our clients are being taken care of, which they were. And so that's why it worked out so well for us. However, I do have some good friends in the industry that have brought it in house and built their own systems at a much smaller revenue rate. And
Yeah.
what what I didn't want, what I was careful of is I wasn't as confident in building SOPs, building our systems, and I definitely wanted to do one thing at a time. So I just set an imaginary benchmark. I said, once we hit 7 figures, then we will start the transition of bringing it in house. And what that did for
Mm.
me was not have to waffle back and forth all the time. It's just like, no, let's use white label. Let's use the structure till we get there. When we get there, then we're gonna begin this slow process of um, offboarding SEO first. Once that is completely
Right.
offboarded, once we're
Mhm.
dialed in there, then let's offboard PPC and bring that in house. Then
Right.
let's do account management. And it's one thing at a time. And even still, as we're recording this conversation, we just offloaded our last contracted white label relationship, which is the website build. And that isn't even finalized quite yet. So it sounds quick, but at the same time, like this is an 18-month planned transition, and I
Mm.
think that just goes into just taking one thing at a time, taking it slow, making sure it works, making sure your clients are being taken care of, and then go to the next thing.
I think that advice of just taking one thing at a time is just solid business advice all around, right? Because there's so many aspects that of running a business, running an agency that can get very overwhelming very quickly,
Yeah.
doing your lead gen, doing your accounting, whatever that is, right? and just taking it one thing at a time and kind of thinking about it in a longer time frame. Like you said, this has been an 18-month transition, and
Mhm.
it's still something that you guys are still undergoing, right? In August 2025, which is cool to see.
Absolutely, and one thing on that too that I just thought of as you're talking is business as a whole, there's never an end date or an end to it or, "Okay,
Yeah.
yep, we made it now." It's like, no, the business is always learning, it's always growing, it's always tweaking, and so even in this transformation or transition, as we called it, it's just a part of, like, the whole journey, and so, it's definitely there's good days and bad days too, but it's like, you always wanna keep your head above water and try to be tweaking things, and I think when you focus on your why and you focus on, like, why are we doing this, and what are we passionate about, and who are we serving, it makes it a lot easier to make some of these tweaks and really focus more on the future instead of trying to pull more profit or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I love that idea of like this game that we play that is business is a game that doesn't ever end, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's an end goal, but then once you achieve that, there's a new goal that you set, right? New objectives. So
for sure.
it's you just keep going, right? Hopefully, as long as you keep enjoying the game, right? So
Absolutely, and that's why we do it too, and everyone listening, it's like we're all a little bit crazy in the head to even take this journey,
right.
but it's awesome. I mean, when you find your community, you find your people, and for me, it's been other agency owners and other entrepreneurs. We just love talking business. Like I'll talk to anyone about their business because I love that. It feeds me to learn more about what makes them happy and what makes them passionate, and it's really cool to see.
I love that. That's cool. Let's talk a little bit about we talked about team structure as far as kind of white label. Maybe for you guys, you did it before a seven-figure mark, right? But let's talk about location a little bit.
Yeah.
You have 6 team members, US based, remote, I'm assuming, right? Or they all has everybody in there? Yes, everybody's remote, and then the other team members will be in a variety of locations. You mentioned Colombia, Pakistan,
Mhm.
a couple other places. For those who aren't familiar, people who are listening, sometimes we talk about this idea called like near shore versus
Mhm.
offshore. Can you maybe walk us through like what that means and maybe some pros and cons that you guys have observed hiring people in Colombia, for example, versus like Pakistan or versus the US?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I hear you say it, it makes me sound so sophisticated, which is just not it's not the case, which I love because there are companies out there and I want to obviously shout them out because it's we use a company called Go Staffy and they take care of all of the foundational work of us hiring a team member in Colombia. The
Right.
only thing we need to do is let them know, "Hey, we're looking for an SEO specialist. We're looking for a web dev." And they're like, "All right, Luke, we're on the search. We will send you an applicant when we know that they are the perfect fit." And then sure enough, when that happens, and we hired our first one from them about 16 months ago, I was a little skeptical. I'd never hired somebody overseas, and this is in Colombia, so it was their central time zone, which was a benefit. It's like okay,
Yeah.
there's roughly same time zone, and they're a bit closer to the states, and but you're paying a lot less, and you're like, gosh, I don't know. If you pay half the price, you're probably gonna get half the dedication and half the workload and all of that. But
Half the quality potentially,
half
right? Yeah.
half the quality, and I was shocked. Like we hired our and also my relationship with Go Staffy too. They brought us one person and we loved him on the interview. We're like, done. And then they just set up my credit card and I pay Go Staffy each month and we get this person for full time, 160 hours a month. And
Mm.
the first person we hired and then the second person we hired, it was so easy. And then they came in so positive, confident, grateful. I mean, you name it, like culture fit, technical fit, team fit, everything. And
Awesome. Yeah.
we now have, you know, 8 team members from Colombia that build that are a huge part of our team. And I'm a big fan of this. We always put all of our team members on our website.
Mm.
It's not like oh, here's our US team and our offshore team doesn't get any of the limelight. It's no, we are one team. Here's our crew. Here's who makes it happen. And we always try and shine a light on the entire team. So, near shore, like you mentioned, Colombia, has been a great experience for us. I think it's been a lot easier having working with a company that deals with the HR, with the taxes, with the legal
Yeah.
stuff, where we just get to go back to work. And then our team member in Pakistan, same thing. We used another agency, RepStack. They've been great, and we have him halftime, which is another option for people listening. Is if you, he's a go high level specialist for our team, and yeah, we're like, well, we don't need him full time, and it worked out where it 4 hours a day, and that's another structure we appreciate. And then Steven, our team member from Serbia, he was the oddball that 3 years ago we just connected on LinkedIn. He reached out, and I just hired him, and he's been a huge leader on our team. So it's when you look at our team now, it's definitely a hybrid. But when you look at our meetings and you look at everyone interact, like everyone is just this one team that is that's come really close together.
Yeah, I love to see that. Our team as well, my business partner is in the Philippines. I'm in the US. We have team members all over the world. And that's the great thing about, I guess, the world we live in too, is you can hire amazing talent from all over the place, which is really cool. So definitely a shout out to, you said Go Staffy was the company in Colombia.
Yep.
Um,
Go Staffy. I'm great friends with them and John Hanau, the owner. And then RepStack is another great one that I've been working with for a long time. So two great options to,
check out. Yeah.
yeah. And they're there to help you. I think that's what a lot of us forget. It's like they're also in business, and their business is to help get you the right people for your team. And it's just
Absolutely. Yeah.
worked out really well for us.
Oh, I love that. I have a question kind of related to this is, as you are, where you're bringing team members, whether the US based or Colombia based or Serbia based, wherever they are, right? I think that team development is a crucial
Mhm.
part of scaling a company, especially as you're going to the next level and wanting to kind of go to the next thing. How do you start to have, I guess, those conversations? How do you start to do that development for team members and kind of getting them ready to go into positions of leadership or positions of
Mhm.
greater responsibility? How do you kind of start thinking about that or start doing that?
Clear the way, give them the opportunity to step up and take it. And I think a lot of times as founders and entrepreneurs, we think it has to be done by us. And I'll give a good example here is our COO, Josie, she's going to be out of town for the next week. And she had brought up to me, she's like, hey, I'm going to be out of town. Do you want to lead our Monday meeting, which is our gratitude get down? It's where everyone goes around and says what we're grateful for, company updates, things like that. And I just said, I've led 100 of these. Like, let's let somebody else lead it. And she's like, oh, we'll have Erica do it. Like, she'll love this. And just clearing the way to let them step up. Another example too. And I'm just gonna try and give some quick ideas because
Yeah.
it's so easy sometimes. And we're gonna make a job offer to the finalist interviewer or interviewee, and I just call and make the job offer. It's a really exciting moment, but I've gotten to do it a bunch of times. I'm like, well, Josie, do you want to make the call and offer her the job? Like, it's a really cool moment to be a part of. And I think realizing some of those leadership opportunities as a founder, as an entrepreneur, are super important to bring people along with you, and then let them out of the nest. Like, let them take it, let them skin their knee, let them make a mistake, whatever. They're going to be fine. And the more mistakes they make, the better they're going to be because they're going to learn from it. So, uh, and I don't know how much time we have, but quickly, my wife and I left on a trip this summer, and we're gone for 2 months, and we saw the most incredible leadership development during that time of me being gone. And there was a lot that we did before the trip, of course, to make sure our team was set up with the right resources, was set up with the right clarity. We run on EOS and just making sure, okay, this is who you go to, but I'm going to be gone and you have full control of this company. Like, we got to make it happen. And clearing the way, as I mentioned before, has been so helpful for them they're already a leader, but to really drive them home into the leaders that they can be and have the potential to be has been really, really special.
I love that. I think that's a fantastic. I like to use the word tactic a lot of times when people come on the show. Is like, what can we actually do
Yeah.
in practice, right? And I think that's a fantastic tactic. Is just hey, here's the responsibility. Here's what you need to empower you to do that well. And like you said, get out of the way, and then give them situations where they can take control and they can grow into that leadership role. So it's really
Yeah.
cool to see that you guys
We're not
see.
as founders and entrepreneurs, you're not as special as you think you are. I just have all day
Yeah.
because it's like you think you're
Good reminder.
the only one that can do the selling or the only one that can build the websites, make the decisions. It's like you got to get out of your own way first.
No, very true. Very true. Well, look, this has been a fantastic discussion. Unfortunately, we're kind of coming near kind of the end of our time here. So, one of the questions I always like to ask every guest that comes on is, what trends or things do you think people should watch out for in the marketing industry in the next year or two? Things are just changing so rapidly.
Mhm.
What do you kind of keeping your eye on?
Yeah, obviously AI is the hot topic right now. What I would recommend for that is just being a good filter for your clients of kind of knocking out some of the stuff they don't need for their business, but also bringing in some of the stuff and innovating with it. So, especially with AI, sometimes you get the shiny object syndrome that everything's exciting, and we're all a part of that. But the best thing, in my opinion, you can do for your clients is to be that filter for them. They don't have time to keep up with it all, but for you to pluck some of these great uses of AI, whether it's operationally or with marketing, and implement it into your agency so that they get the upside of it. But then they just continue to build trust with you that, okay, they're not just the wild west just trying everything, but they also have innovation in mind and they have our best interests in mind. So it's been exciting, man. Unfortunately, you see a lot of agencies struggle from the shift, but as long as you hold your reputation and you treat people like people and you actually care about them, they will stick with you and they will ride with you through all of these waves.
I love that. The solid advice. Luke, again, it's been great having you on the show. If people want to get a hold of you, where can they find you?
Oh man. I'd say definitely reach out on social media. I manage my own and our agency's social media. So at Luke Eggebraaten or at Phaser Marketing. And definitely shoot me a message. Would love to connect with you guys listening. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And then also I host the Dirtbags podcast. And so if you want to listen, go check that out. We just crossed our 100th episode, which has been a blast. And I just want to reiterate too, I'm an open book for anyone listening. I love this kind of stuff. I would love to hear about your business and anyone else listening, what you got cooking. And sometimes that's what you need is just an ear to talk to and somebody that's excited for to kind of dive into what they got going. So anyone listening, please reach out to me and would love to hear from you guys. And Eli, thank you again for having me on the show. This has been awesome.
Of course, of course. And, you mentioned, how to contact it. We'll have all those links in the show notes. So check those out there. And Luke, again, it's been great having you on the show. Really appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Eli. We will be talking soon.
Thank you for joining us in this episode of The Founders Corner, the podcast series for marketing firms and agencies looking to learn and level up their business. You can check out more podcasts and other content from OneBridge Accounting by following the links in the show notes. At OneBridge Accounting, we're all about helping marketing and creative firms organize their finances, maximize their profits, save cash, and automate their accounting and finance functions. Check out our other resources and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.